Hello and welcome to DCG's development update. We are here with the platform, the core, and the mobile teams to give you an update on what happened in the past 2 weeks. We are planning this session for 60 minutes, and if you have any question or feedback, please let us know. Use a question or a Q prefix so we will know that you intend that question to the Q&A session. And without further ado, let's start with the platform team. Sam, would you kick us off?
Yeah, sure.
Let me find the sharing as well. And hopefully you can see my screen. Can you?
I
We do.
can. We do. Okay, so Ivan, me, Paul, and Lucas were on tokens. And we've made a lot of progress there. We're gonna explain that progress today. Odysseus and Lucas on state sync, also going very well. I'm doing a little bit of work in iOS last 2 weeks. Basically, maybe I'd say 15%, 20% was on iOS. And Paul was working on the Dash Evo tool. Okay, let's go in.
Hello, everyone. Except tokens, we did some features for platform actually, and one of them is document count indexes. It's a new thing for V2, allow you to see how many actually documents exist when you do the query that corresponding to this query. This work in progress, and that will allow you to not just to fetch the documents and see the actual total count more than the limit what you have, but also to do the only count query. So just to see how many documents instead of fetching all of them. That was requested by community for a long time, so I hope you guys will enjoy it when it's finished. Another problem, not ours, and we just made some jokes on this. That's Satoshi's failure for sure. Is the inverted quorum hashes bug what we had in platform. Unfortunately, Sam fixed the bug in Dash core, so the quorum hash is. I know if you're aware of this interesting thing that when you print and show the hash as the hex, it's actually inverted before converting to the hex, the bytes. And unfortunately, in the platform, we build the thing in a way that they're not inverting. And the many logic and state now depends on the wrong quorum order of the bytes. So we after the fix, we had to do a lot of workarounds. It's not gonna fix for V2. We don't want to delay it due to this issue, but we're gonna fix it a little bit later.
Can I add something? Just so.
Yes, please make it funnier, please.
Yes, well, no, it's people might be going, wait, there are no quorums in Bitcoin, and there are no quorums in Bitcoin, but our quorum hashes are basically the block hashes. They're the same thing. And quorum hashes, and since quorum hashes and block hashes are the same thing, in Bitcoin, when there's a representation in bytes of block hashes, and then when it's showed to the user on the screen, for some reason Satoshi decided, I think it was Satoshi, but it was a lot of people believe it was Satoshi, to invert these bytes. Now this code is from 2008 or 2009. Basically just flip them. And a lot of people are a lot of developers of the Bitcoin code base don't understand why he did this, but it happened. So, ta-da. yeah, I would not call it Satoshi's failure, but it's something that we still have been dealing with. So basically, we because of it was turned around, and because we were deserializing it from JSON, we were not representing the order the same way that the Bitcoin, I mean, the Dash Core code base was in Rust when we were taking it, and when we fixed that, there was a lot of issues because now all the quorum hashes flipped order. Anyways, so we fixed all of this. So now the system works again.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest confusions in crypto world, actually. So it's this hashes back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, it is very, very, very painful. Anyways,
Lukasz?
Yeah, hi. I also did just a few things in terms of platform. First, I did some maintenance tasks in dependencies. So there were two issues. First one is that one of our dependencies, which is JSSys, has hard-coded bindgen, wasn't bindgen tool at version 0 to 100. We were at 0 to 99, so our pipeline stopped working and detected that it needed to be fixed. It's not it's not a good practice to hardcode exact version of some tool, but JS did that. Not sure why, but basically we are limited by it. Maybe there is some issue in other versions that JS needs to downgrade for some period, but I didn't fully investigate why they did that. And second thing was that bin code library was released in version 2.0.0 stable. However, we decided not to update it yet, so I just ensure in the configuration of the project that we stick to the previous one, because it requires some work to basically update. And it might be also a breaking change in terms of data in platform, so it needs to be tested and checked. So basically that's it here. And also I worked on a few other topics. First one is an endpoint to get identities based by. So the user, the developer can send a request providing a public key hash, and he will get identities that use that public key. Basically, if some multiple identities use the same key for, I don't know, some signing scheme or whatever, we didn't have a good method to get that information. Now we have. Second feature that I worked on was asset lock quorum and corrupt height verification. It's basically a quite old PR that I updated, and I think it's right now in the final testing by CI/CD and should be merged soon. If it passes, it's not. It's I think it's already reviewed, but I had to also update that, so it might need to be re-approved. This feature is a feature for SDK to be able to do some calculations to verify if the asset lock, which holds holds some information about funds, can be used inside SDK if the nodes we are connected to are likely to accept them. It's not ultimate solution, but it's some optimization for developers. And third task that I'm working on is about tokens. So in tokens, I think Sam will get into more details about that, but I'm just writing some tests for Sam. For the code Sam wrote about token distribution algorithms, so that we can have tokens that have increasing supply or decreasing or whatever we decide to do. There are multiple configuration options, and all these options need to be tested with various input parameters, edge cases, and stuff like that, and I'm on that right now. In terms of Tender Dash, on the next slide, yeah, we have 3 open topics. First one is single node quorum. Here, not much changed since last demo. So basically, we are on the same status of waiting for the team to have a bit more time to go with that task and finalize. I don't expect any changes to that, but still, it's maybe it's postponed right now. Maybe it will be better status. Also some maintenance of Tender Dash in terms of 5 dependencies, and the biggest task from the Tender Dash area that I worked on is state sync, where the PR itself is, I think, quite stable right now, but we are doing a big effort to test state sync, to find edge cases, to find like parameters and situations where it can break. And this is ongoing effort. Right now we are on DevNet. Unfortunately, we had to do some breaking changes that don't allow us to test against mainnet. Previous versions of StateSync were tested against mainnet, and it was great testing because we have tons of data there. And this is what we need for StateSync testing. Right now, we have to limit to some smaller devnets with only like artificially generated data. But yeah, we started testing on devnet. And a bit more about that can be provided by Audi. So, Audi?
Yes, thank you, Lukasz. So hello, I'm gonna be brief. So progress was made on the particular part of platform state reconstruction. I'm just going to explain the last sentence of Lukasz. So why can't we test on mainnet? Well, it's because we are storing the new design stores critical data in GroveDB under the root hash that are being synced to the new node, and then they are useful for the platform reconstruction. Well, as you understand, if we need to include data under the root hash, well, this is a breaking change. So it has to be activated by a new platform version, etc. So the next step would be to test this to testnet, so to activate it and test it on testnet. And then we're gonna have a much better image. But so far, the local and DevNet testings are passing. Yeah, that's all for me for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ori. Sam, could you take it over? Pause slide.
Yeah, sorry, forgot that I was muted. Yeah, so Paul couldn't join us today, so I'll just he made this slide. I'll just say what he did. He improved the token creation following new features for the token distribution. It actually looks really really nice. It's too bad that he's not here to give a demo, but you know, in 2 weeks from now, once we actually we'll be pretty much wrapping things up on tokens, I believe in 2 weeks. So, you know, he'll probably show the final demo then. Added view JSON button to the token creator. Yeah, that's cool too. I saw that. You can see the JSON of your token before you register your token. He added key authentication when you're connecting to the local Dash core. It was something that was requested by Pasta. And yeah, works well. Somebody requested the ability to forget wallets. I think he added that too. We needed for testing of tokens the ability to connect to DevNet. We currently have tokens running on a DevNet right now that we have. We decided to do it this way and not go to testnet yet because there's still too much that needs to be improved. We'll go to testnet once once we have marketplace working and once everything is in a much more final status. But we wanted to, since it's pretty big, we wanted to go to a DevNet earlier so we can start testing earlier. In fact, Paul has found about 5 or 6 issues so far, and we fixed about 3 of them already. So it's really, I mean, we're already in the process of testing tokens, finding various problems with them, finding problems like rare situations, edge cases, etc. So that's that. I think, Ivan, you are the first token screen, right?
Yes, that's mine. Thank you.
Okay.
So some of these tasks since last sprint, they finally reviewed and merged the token and group queries this sprint. And this PR was quite huge and contained multiple fixes for the token logic. Also, we implemented the sized integer type for document properties in data contract. So now if you're using validation rules to define maximum, minimum values for the integers in enum with the specific values what are valid, on the Rust side, when we created the contract from the schema, we used the particular sized integer types depending on the maximum values and maximum minimum values, such as U8, U16, U32, and so on. Token transfer to non-existent identity, that's something what Paul found recently, and we have a fix, and we're currently testing it right now. The validate token name localization, I think that what we had since previous sprint, that's about the having mandatory to define the English translation for the token name. Before you could create a token even without any name. So that's merged. And transfer the frozen account is allowed. Oh, I think this one's still not merged yet. I think that's a mistake. It shouldn't be done. So the thing is, multiple token implementation in other networks, they allow you to transfer tokens to even the frozen account, frozen balance. On our side, it's kind of increased the fees to have this check for the transfer of the tokens, but also it could increase the user experience. So people who think that it's important to do not allow to make this transfer, they can configure the token to do not allow this thing. There was another bug after adding the outer fields to the data contract. I'm sure, Sam, do you have this one on the slides? I haven't seen it actually. So Sam added some fields such as we have in document. It's creation time, update time, and the heights when the contract was created and updated. So you can use the statistic information.
Yeah, yeah.
For other
Yeah.
needs, it's introduced some regression, so we fixed it for the proof verification. I think the last two is yours.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and I'll continue on that. So now when you register a data contract, it will take the system time and add it to the data contract. So we'll keep that time in the new in version 2 of Evo. We're introducing a new version of the data contract. We're introducing a new version of the document type. Basically there's a lot of new stuff, right? And in this new data contract version, there's new fields for created at, updated at, and those are taking the system time. So yeah, Yvonne fixed the client side verification. Okay. In terms of no, I didn't finish. So the final version of token distribution was done, and we now have a dev version that we have on DevNet. We're testing, so that's really good progress. Inside of that, we have token distribution to Evo nodes. If you want to do like airdrop to Evo nodes, that also is done based off of how many blocks we proposed. So that's currently in testing as well. Okay. Next screen now. This is one of the last features that's required before we do the marketplace, and this has been done. Require tokens for document actions. So it gives the ability to require tokens for document action. Oh yeah, I just said it. All document actions are supported. This means like creation, deletion, replace, NFT purchase, anything can require a token cost as well. Changing the price of a document, and you can use different tokens for different document actions. You can have a special gold token that's required for a document creation and a gas token that's required for a document update. Now, I understand that a lot of people, this is pretty hard to understand what's so cool about this. So I kind of made an example on the following slide. So let's imagine you are selling airline tickets, and your tickets for a specific flight are $200, and a change of name on the ticket costs $20, and bags are $10. I don't know where this is. I think bags in the United States are now $25 or $40, or like it's gone way up, but let's just take this as an example. So you can create 3 tokens that are used to buy your tickets. And one is one's purpose would be buying tickets. One's purpose would be a change of name of ticket, and another token could be bags, or it could be just like general other things. Like maybe you want to use one token for bags, one token for onboard Wi-Fi and things like that. Or maybe you want one token being like a general cash purchase that can be used for various add-ons, right? So yeah, and all of this, developers that use this feature can hide it from users. Like users are not going to see that they purchase tokens and then that they make their document creation. No, they'll just see that they purchase the document. But internally, this system can be used, right? So they purchase the token and then they register the document. And it allows, well, it basically allows for the system to work much more easily, because if you were to just create your document and have it have a cost, well, while that system could work, using tokens to do it is a better abstraction, because tokens can easily be purchased and they're always going to be purchased for the same amount, right? And it also allows things like in like if you created a game, right? A smart contract or a data contract game, you could have like in-game currency for your thing, for your contract. Maybe entering the dragon's lair requires um, a certain amount of tokens that you get by doing quests, but it also requires another type of token that you get by making an like an in-game purchase. Even though I hate those in games, but our system should be allowed to do multiple things. Anyways, so the feature is now done. It's been merged in, and yeah, we're moving on to the marketplace now. So with that, Asta, are you here?
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
Alrighty, we can move on here. So, I was on vacation last week, so I didn't do a whole heck of a lot. But Constantine and Kitty Whiskers are now primarily working on big tasks. So, respectively, um, the extended masternode list as well as the proof of service banning via platform. So they've been pretty focused on both of those, and so there aren't as many small PRs this week because they've just been focusing on these bigger tasks. But I did work a little bit on some block hash caching optimization, especially during reindex. It appeared that when we're loading in blocks, we were hashing it like 4 different times, which isn't really needed. Bitcoin doesn't care about this because SHA-256 is really, really, really fast on modern hardware. X11 is nowhere near as fast, and so we wanted to put in a little bit of effort and see if we can optimize that. And it appears to be functioning and working well so far. So that's in review, but that should make reindexing a little bit faster. I don't have super solid numbers for you yet. They might be in the PR. I forget, but does improve reindex a bit, which is always nice. Also moving towards a little bit CMake adoption, but primarily we're focused right now on working towards getting proof of service banning via platform accomplished, as well as extensible addresses in the DML. So I think we can move on to the next slide here. So backport progress. We did merge in. Actually, there's some progress not marked here, so it's probably even a little bit better than this. I merged in some right after I screenshotted this week, but making solid progress towards the V23. V23 is almost done. Normally around 96 to 97% is kind of where we consider it done, because there's just always a couple that it's unclear if we're going to backport them long term. Maybe they're like Taproot related or something like that. But solid progress towards V23 backports. We're almost done with that, so that's always cool to see. We can move on to the next slide here. So like I said, not as many PRs got merged in the most recent past, but a couple of backport PRs. We did an improvement to the get IS locks RPC that came from kind of some of the investigations that Sam and I did related to, well, implementing better stuff in Rust Dash Core, getting some of the test features and whatnot for him. We found that adding the request ID to get instance unlocks could be pretty helpful, and that way we don't have to manually calculate it. So fixed a couple of bugs, but mostly just backported stuff in this most recent set. But we should have pretty decent progress on getting some PRs opened in the near future for proof of service banning and extended addresses. So we're excited about that, and those will be the main features coming in the next major version. So we can go on to the next slide here. I think actually that might be a wrap for us.
I have a question. Sorry. I have a question, and my questions come first. I know how much faster the QR info message is compared to before, and I really I loved how much faster it is. Do we have to wait to a next major version to get a release with that out? Or is it possible that we can get that out?
So, the way the PR is implemented right now, it is not backwards compatible. And so that is the main concern at the moment. So,
What part was not?
at least as I understand it, I might need to talk with Odie some more. But I believe that it does change the behavior in how the QR info responds. And it could theoretically break behavior. And we want to be very careful about
Oh,
breaking behavior.
I think there's that one, but I'm talking about yours.
Oh, that
The
one might be
one
merged in already. I think that one's merged in already. I think was that QR info or
it was
maybe
just general like improvements to masternode list diffs
yeah.
and speed.
I mean, there's no reason. I would have to look through and see what, if anything, we have merged in so far that might be breaking. If there's nothing that we've merged in so far that's breaking, we could do another point release and get that out pretty soon.
I'm just telling our community this because it's going to make syncing so much faster.
Yeah. Um, yeah. That's very likely. I'll have to look into it a little bit more, but that's very likely something that we can get bundled up into a 22.2 and get released for people to upgrade to.
Okay, excellent.
Okay. Shall we move on to mobile?
Sure. I'll answer that one, I guess. Yeah, so on Android and iOS, we had a little bit more of a conservative sprint this time. We've been having a lot of rollover. So, but we did make some good progress, and most of what you see here is mostly done now in our current sprint. Again, some updates to our Firebase events. The receive invitation changes proves a little bit more challenging than we had hoped for. And in the process, just some other changes on platform since we last dealt with invitations required a lot more rework. And as we were doing that, we found opportunities to make some improvements to the UX and UI. So that will come out in a later feature release, probably in April, but no definitive date just yet. On CoinJoin, we had a couple bugs that we had to fix, particularly for heavy mixers or users who mix quite heavily, and some design updates to the UI for Dashbed. We're getting very close to starting the beta on that. So anyone that's interested in participating in that beta, just keep an eye out on the socials, and the newsletter will have information where you can sign up for that if you haven't already. So the next slide on iOS, I'll let Sam get into most of the detail on DashPay, but we did integrate into Platform 2.0. We had some updates to the macros that needed to be done, as well as some issues with document submission that was finished. There was also database changes where we needed to investigate kind of how that migration will work, and started the implementation of that as well. And there was an issue on CoinJoin where when you turned CoinJoin off, it wasn't. Sometimes some of the inputs were still locked, and it caused some issues with combining your mixed and unmixed balances. So that's being fixed, as well as some crashes, which actually was released in our last point release. Yeah, so I'll hand it back over to Sam.
Sure. Yeah, not much here, but I am doing ongoing support for integration. And one issue that is basically a big issue that we have to that I need to go and fix is that the library that I used assumed that the clients would have chain locks. chain lock signatures, which are contained in the Coinbase messages, and it's part of DIP 29. However, they're also given back through the mnlist diff message. So I went, with solution A to how to do this, and iOS and Android were actually using solution B on how to do this. So I just need to upgrade. This is not a heavy amount of work. It's just that it needs to get done, and probably will take me about a day to finish. I've already started, and I'm probably 6 hours in. That's about it. Yeah, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do.
Oh, you know what? Before we go into questions, I will give a little update on when 2.0, right? So
Okay, please.
yeah, I think that was missing from the slides. I forgot to give an update there. We have so platform's going pretty well. We have to fix some of the issues, and then we have to do this market place. So what is marketplace? We need a few extra state transitions, and we need buying and selling. Me and Yvonne believe we can do marketplace within about 2 weeks, or at least I believe that. And then we're gonna do one last. We're gonna push to testnet and then verify that everything is working. And we're doing testing, ongoing testing right now. We're not stalled in any way. We're making good progress every week or every 2 weeks. Like now we have pretty much all features done for 2.0 except the marketplace, I believe. Ivan, is there anything else that we're missing other than marketplace? I mean, I know there are bugs, but other than bugs,
Count indexes, what we're gonna finish very soon.
yeah, I mean, we're finishing that up, and then we have marketplace. And I can't think of any other feature we have, right?
I think that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go pretty hardcore on marketplace as soon as I finish this iOS fix that I need to do. And then yeah, we'll keep people updated. Okay, now let's go to the questions.
So, question from Digital Cash Network. Question for the core team. Can the confidential transaction dip be merged? If not, what specific things need to be resolved first? Today marks 7 months. It's being worked on. The dev is frustrated. For context, it is greater than the estimated time to actually do the development work to implement CD into Dash CT. Asta.
Yeah, for sure. So a couple of things, I guess. I did review it lightly this morning. I put a couple extra comments on it that I thought um would be valuable to kind of clarify. But in a lot of ways, the dip being merged or not doesn't mean anything. Um, so personally, I wouldn't look at that as a holdup. If there are other things that they could be doing, I would be doing those things. Whether it's merged or not doesn't signal like approval or anything. It just kind of signifies that like it is a broadly semi-reasonable technical specification, right? Like it's just a like bare bones minimum standard. It's not signifying really approval or anything. It's just this is a standard technical document that could apply to Dash, right? Um, so yeah, my first thing would be if there's stuff that you could be doing, or other stuff that you want to be doing, totally feel free to go ahead and do that. But I did review it earlier today. There were a couple of things that I thought we could kind of clarify or change a little bit. I'd probably want like Sam to spend some time and review it, but I know he's busy, so it's hard to herd him sometimes. But I'd probably want his review and probably like Eugene, and then I'd probably want Jeremy to take a look at it just from like a more like formatting and like language perspective. So that's kind of where it's at. But like I said, like right, whether it gets merged in today or in a month before it's hard forked in or whatever, right? Like it doesn't really matter. Um, but at least it shouldn't. So yeah, if there's stuff that you could be doing, feel free to move forward with that. There are a couple of things that I commented on it this morning, and like I said, I'd want probably Sam and Eugene to give it a look over at least and see that everything makes sense to them, and kind of go from there. But hopefully that was a satisfactory answer.
Thank you very much, Pasta.
I would like to add something to that. Like most
Please.
of our internal dips, like 6, 7, the big ones like deterministic mass node list, they weren't really merged in before we wrote code, right? We didn't have a process like, oh, we have the dip, now we write the code. It was actually like, we had the dip and we wrote code at the same time. And then when we felt like the dip was in a good state to be merged in, we merged in the dip. If we're waiting for the dip to be merged in to write code, well, I mean, I think at this point, is there any major issue with the dip, Pasta, that you see? Or it's just more that you want it in a pristine format before it comes in, or close to pristine format like the other dips?
Yeah, I mean, right, I think one of my concerns is kind of what you were alluding to there is as you start to work on like prototype implementation and start actually writing code, you'll realize, oh, we forgot about this part in the dip. We need to specify this. This is important, right? There's a lot of stuff that kind of comes up. So I think it's at like a relatively good state to start prototyping and start figuring stuff out on a, more, on a deeper, more technical level. Because generally I think the dip looks mostly fine. There's some stuff to maybe clarify or improve here and there, but like generally conceptually, I think it is mostly fine. But I do think probably as they get into writing code, and start prototyping stuff, they'll find more that needs to get changed to it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you. Next question about DET. What is the approximate release date for V1 with the redesign? So the first version with the redesign.
It's in a while because we're gonna, I would assume, I mean, Paul's not here, but I can speak to how long I would expect it to take for him to do this redesign. I would expect a month. That's what I would expect to implement the design. But that is not from now. That is from when he starts on it. And he will start on it after tokens are released. So
thank you for the clarification.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I see no further questions. So
I have another question to Pasta.
Please.
So if the Desert Lynx really wants to merge this in, maybe because it means that he will get funding or something else, or there's some reason that we're not aware of that would require this be merged in. Would how could we get it merged in with the understanding that as new information comes in, it gets updated?
Just like that, probably.
Oh.
Right, like, right, like, yeah. Like I said, I put a couple of comments on there. But otherwise, once probably you and Eugene maybe take a look at it and say, yeah, there's nothing obvious that I see missing. I think it's probably fine to get merged in, but right, like I said earlier, a dip being merged in or not doesn't necessarily signify approval of the like concept or anything like that. It's just, yes, this is a generally sound technical specification.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. And take another look. That's it. So thanks everybody for joining, and see you in